Check one. Welcome to the Midnight Madness Show. I'm Mark, the DJ Doctor. Brian pulled a fast one. We have Brian in the house. We're glad to see Brian back. This thing runs a whole lot better when the IT guru was in the house running all the equipment versus me. So
we wasn't so sure for a second there.
For a second there, he had me scared because he was like going, 10 seconds. And I'm like, okay, thanks, Brian. And I had no microphone. So he got me right at the last second. So how you doing, Brian?
I'm doing good.
I started with you first tonight since you've got the microphone close in hand, so I knew you were kind of ready.
That's right.
So everything going good?
Oh, great. Hey, everything's working, so I mean, you know. Yeah.
Everything's working, everything's up and running, the video's working, everything's going good there too?
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent.
Just like, scaring y'all at the last minute. No, can't hear yourself, so.
That was a little...
Yeah, I was like, what's going on there? Can't you
for a radio show to have audio is a nice thing. I don't know. It's how technicality is, but...
That's our special Christmas gift from Brian.
Yeah, things are going to work tonight. So I'm going to pass on the microphone next to me and introduce our panel as usual. Next to me is James, the Lyric Man. How you doing, James?
Doing pretty good.
That's it.
That's it.
I'm doing pretty.
The enthusiasm is awesome here.
all the words he said, Patsy, in the last hour, he takes now to go, I'm all right. I'm doing good.
It's okay. I'm doing good.
Doing good.
Give him a little wasabi.
Yeah, some hot sake or whatever.
There you go.
Well, then you need to put those on, or you'll be grounded and dock pay on your head. We got pictures tonight. So we'll hop over to Uncle Larry. How you doing, Larry?
Hey, I'm doing great, Mark. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
See, we held a conversation there. It lasted longer than 3 seconds, but
not much, though.
Not much, no.
I love those ears you got, though.
Oh, I love them, too. This is cool. And you'll see them on Facebook. The people that are listening, we'll introduce our guest here, and it's one of our absolute treats for the year. But she makes us do things. And,
I like how his hat wiggles when he talks.
I do, too. I like that.
I like that.
But let's see who else we got. We got Cindy Lamka taking pictures. She took incriminating photos of me. Cindy has caught the same thing the rest of us has caught. She's trying to breathe, and bless her heart. I know she ain't feeling good. You can tell in her eyes, but she's out here, being a trooper, taking photos of us. So we got a pretty good crowd here in the audience. When Mr. Kerber's here, he played our show a couple of weeks ago. He's here picking up his son, who's taking lessons, and we're going to be bringing Joey Gibson out. He's going to play a tune or so with our musical guest, which I'll introduce. We had her on the show almost exactly a year ago today.
That's true.
Last year, we were introduced to Miss Patsy Trigg, and she did the last live show of the year because the next two Tuesdays, Christmas Eve, which we won't do a live show, New Year's Eve, we won't do a live show. So Patsy's our last live performer of 2013.
And I am alive.
And she is alive. She's not passed away. And if this is the Hillbilly Heartthrob, which it is, Jason, the Hillbilly Heartthrob.
Hey, Hillbilly.
It's in and out. It's been that way the last few times I've tried to listen. Well, thank you. And we'll send you a complimentary home version of this show.
Got to be the snow up in Michigan.
That's how you get a better internet provider.
We do that on purpose just for Jason.
That's true.
We just scramble your signal, Jason. So, hey, it's your fault you moved to Michigan. Enjoy the snow and shovel something. So yeah.
Seen any Wolverines?
Thanks for the photos of the lovely snowstorm you got up there. And I just don't want to rub it in, but it was 58 here today, T-shirt weather. But so anyways, I lost train of thought because the Hillbilly Heartthrob interrupted like he normally does.
Like a summer breeze.
What's that?
Like a summer breeze.
Like a summer breeze, yeah. So, but she was here last year performing, and it's absolutely a treat. When I first heard the song 36 years ago?
34.
34, okay.
1979. Maybe we should recount it.
Wow, you're right, because I graduated in 77. So that was 35 years ago. So, yeah.
I remember I laughed so hard the first time I heard it that my mom had changed my diaper.
Wow.
You still wearing diapers?
I was 14 then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I was 2.
He was just born. Yeah.
Were you?
You too?
79. She said 79. We were 2. I was 2. We were 2.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I introduced that song to my grandson 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was, I think, 6 at the time. He's 8 now, so. And he absolutely loves that song.
Well, we kind of let the cat out of the bag before I introduced her, but we have Miss Patsy Trigg, who is the one half of the Elmo and Patsy duet that released, you said 1979.
Correct.
Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. Yes. She is here in our shop.
Thank you.
At the 13th floor of our Skyrise Plaza studio here in lovely downtown Manchester. And I was telling her, I said, it's amazing. We've had some pretty cool people that's been on stage, people that's wrote hits for George Strait, Lori Morgan, Colin Ray, Garth Brooks.
That's the same guy.
Same guy, yeah. But
we've had one.
But you got, well, then you got Lori, Cindy Limbaugh, and you got all these guys that's done all this stuff, which is cool. But I said, unless you're following country, a lot of us don't know that. But everybody knows Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer.
That's right.
And it's just funny that
it's an annual Christmas event.
Yeah, it's not Christmas until that song comes on. It's like Halloween. It's not Halloween unless you hear Werewolves of London and Monster Mash.
Oh, I love Werewolves of London.
Great song.
My grandmother actually hated that song. I may have told you last year. She actually hated that song because she took offense to it because she would walk across the street to our house on Christmas Eve and stuff, and she had to walk home, and she would always, I don't like that song.
She had to watch out for low-flying reindeer.
But we made sure she was okay because she was bringing the chocolate pies tomorrow.
There you go. So I just thought it was cool, and not dreaming 34 years later that the young lady would be on stage, in our shop that is on that CD or at that time vinyl. And I think that's just a cool thing. We're so glad you're here. So we have tonight Miss Patsy Trigg. Let's give her a big round of applause.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
It's her second time on the show. We're glad to have her. We got a pretty good listening crowd tonight. Last year we kind of were just getting on board with the radio station. She was on. We had a pretty good crowd, but now we got people. We know people in New Hampshire's listening. We know people in Wisconsin, Indiana, Michigan, obviously, is listening. As well as who knows where else in the world. So, but we know 4 states for sure that are tuned in. We got a pretty good crowd here for the
friends
studio.
Out in California probably listening, and in Hawaii.
Probably in Hawaii,
Japan.
probably Jamaica.
Jamaica.
We're big in.
We don't have anybody from Tennessee.
nobody in Tennessee listens to us.
Massachusetts.
No,
and the Netherlands.
Roscoe Bino probably in St. Louis. So, anyone that's out there listening, Cindy will be taking pictures of Miss Trigg here throughout the night, and the rest of us, because we all have to wear reindeer antlers, and I got an elf hat on, and she did this to us last year, so it's kind of like our little treat. We think that's kind of funny.
We have a few extra little reindeer things here. If any of the audience would like to wear one, you're more than welcome.
And I think Ken would look good in that one right there myself, but I'll let you rustle him to try to get that on him. But we're going to put all these pictures on Facebook. Cynthia is back there posting all the pictures on Facebook, so make sure you go to our Facebook page, which is Facebook / and then it's WFMCJams, .com, of course. And then tell us where you're from and what you like, and make sure you like the pictures and share them with your friends. It's a special occasion, and it's a good ending of a good year that we had for 2013. So, Patsy, welcome to the show again.
Thank you.
We're so glad to have you back. So I know we're probably going to repeat some of the same questions we did last year, but again, we got a bigger base listening to us. We don't want them to feel left out or cheated. But this year, Patsy has a few new songs that she's going to introduce, and we're going to find out a little more about that. I think first, let's just have you pull a song out, do a song for us, whatever you like to do, and then we'll hit you up with some questions.
One of my favorite songs to kind of play just for fun, to kind of get warmed up, was one of my dad's favorite songs, and so maybe y'all like it too. Roly-poly, eating corn and taters, hungry every minute of the day. Roly-poly, gnawing on a biscuit, long as he can chew it, it's okay. He can eat an apple pie and never bat an eye. He likes everything from soup to hay. Roly-poly, daddy's little fatty, bet he's gonna be a man someday. I was my daddy's little fatty.
Yeah, you and me both.
Roly-poly, scrambled eggs for breakfast, bread and jelly 20 times a day. Roly-poly eats a hearty dinner, takes a lot of strength to run and play. Pulls up weeds and he does the chores, and he runs both ways to all the stores, works up an appetite that way. Roly-poly, daddy's little fatty, bet he's gonna be a man someday. Bet he's gonna be a man someday.
I like
Thank
that.
you.
Roly Poly, Daddy's Little Fatty. I think.
That's my favorite. I love that song.
If Big Mike is listening out there, Big Mike Griffin, who he was here last year. I don't know if you met him. He's a guy that's about the same size of a giant bus. Big Mike, he 6'10", 360 pounds. He was here last year when you were here, but he was teaching, so I don't know if you had a chance to meet him. But every Tuesday when he comes in and teaches, he sang that song.
Did he
every
really?
Tuesday for almost 2 years. He would sing that song, and I had that song in my head forever, and I went, why that song? But every time he sang that song, so he'd sing it, and he'd get me thinking that song for the rest of the day. So we'll say, thanks, Mike. That one went out for Mike. We'll say that. We'll
Do you know
dedicate
who
that
wrote
one.
it, Mark?
No. You tell me who.
Do you know who wrote it?
No, not right off. No,
I believe Bob Wills wrote that song.
maybe, yeah,
That doesn't
because it
surprise
comes
me.
from
Yeah,
about
it was
that time.
it was a Bob Wills classic song right there.
Yeah.
Bob Wills has good ones. That's all I have to say about that.
All right, thanks, Forrest. Well, good. Well, Patsy, let's get to find out a little bit more about you personally.
Okay.
Start off kind of where you're from originally, and how did you get to Tennessee?
Well, I'd be considered like a fourth generation Tennessean.
Okay.
My dad was from Fayetteville, Tennessee,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess one of the original land grant areas in that area. But he was a pilot. He was a bomber pilot
Oh, wow.
during World War II, and so we traveled a lot. He was military, Air Force. So I was actually born in Texas.
Oh, wow.
And traveled all over, and then finally moved out to California as an airline hostess. That's when I ran into Elmo. They were playing. First time, can you imagine being raised on country music and being in Texas, Texas swing and stuff like that?
Sure.
Had to go to California to hear my first bluegrass.
Isn't it wild?
And I loved it. Yeah, it was just awesome. So that's where I learned to play bluegrass, and we had a bluegrass group.
Now, how old were you when you met Elmo and started the bluegrass thing?
About 22, 21, 22 right there.
22? And that was in California?
California.
Bluegrass in California.
We were we were basically about the only group. There was like a handful of us, probably about 15, 20 people. And we kind of split off and formed our own group. And originally, this is fun, there was about 5 or 6 of us. We played at a place called Mooney's Irish Pub.
Aha.
Irish Pub there.
There's a tie-in.
And by the time we get finished playing that night, the guy would go to pay us, and we each had $5.
Yeah, that's typical on the music scene. That hasn't changed.
Yeah, the music scene hasn't changed. Yeah.
Hadn't changed
I just
one
want to say,
iota.
how long were you at airline?
2 years.
2 years? Because you're such a happy person. I bet you were fun on a plane.
I
mean,
loved flying.
I can just picture up there. Now we're going down, but this will be really funny. For those of you who can swim, Hawaii is due east 5 miles. For those of you who can't swim, thank you for flying Southwest.
We know you had a choice of airlines, and you chose wrong today. Have a nice day. So, yes.
You guys are cruel. You know that.
Oh, is this the princess?
We have Princess Diva has just shown up. I took your spot, so you
She
can
likes
sit right
to
over
make
here.
she likes to make an entrance. She always comes in halfway through the show.
Surprise!
Welcome there, Princess Diva. Grab your microphone. Let's make sure it's on and get her to work.
So, what airlines did you fly for?
TWA, Travel
Yes.
with Angels.
Yes.
Wow.
My brother worked for them for 28 years, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, out of Boston.
Out of
Or
Boston?
as they say, out of Boston.
That's the airline that took me out to boot camp.
Is it really?
Yeah, this many, many, many years ago. Went out at Christmas time. We flew out to Chicago and everything, and it was on a Super Constellation.
Oh, wow.
So it's one of them three-tail jaws, which happens to tell you how old I am, but it
Well,
was
when I-
fun.
Was one of the Wright brothers still flying?
Yeah, right.
He was the pilot.
We were one of the first group right after we got out of training, which was in Kansas City. We were the first ones to fly the 747s. Nobody wanted to fly them because they weren't tested yet. I
Yeah.
mean, And so all the senior flyers wouldn't go near them. So all of us junior girls got to fly the 747. And one of the first things you learn when the training is how to get out of an airplane and get the people out. And you don't realize that's a long way, and you're on that top floor down that slide. And they showed us how to put people out of the plane without us following them. And if they froze at the door, it was kind of fun learning all this stuff.
Just kick a big foot, just push.
Yeah. One in the knee right there, and then
They're
just
gone.
tuck them down.
So, well, that's cool. So she was, did they call you stewardess then, or was a hostess?
Stewardess.
Stewardess then.
Yeah.
So that was the first airlines I ever flew on was TWA.
Was
Because my
it?
brother, he got his family discounts, So, I flew a 707. If you remember, those were old planes too. So,
You remember the Convair 880?
oh yeah, I've been on those.
We had to learn how, if there was an accident, you take the people out the back, you have to lower the tail.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a section back there that's only so wide, you have to get everybody down and have them crawl out.
Oh my.
Yeah, fortunately we never had to use that, but it was just one thing we had to learn. Thank goodness they got rid of those real soon.
So were you working out of
San Francisco.
San Francisco? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cool. So you went from nice weather to nice weather. So you had to come back to. Did you live anywhere else that was kind of inclement?
No, I was trying to think. We mostly stayed in the stateside and just California, Texas. We did live in Virginia, which was a little bit colder, but
Right.
not that much because we're right on the water.
Yeah.
And Hampton,
Okay.
that type of those places. Dad went TDY a lot.
Okay.
Lived in Georgia. So
Yeah. So rough, 60-degree weather there in the winter. Yeah.
I'd like to have gone overseas, maybe to Germany or some of those places, but they always send him on short missions. So
Okay. So now with your travel and music, have you ever gotten overseas? Have you?
one of my favorite ones, they flew us to Holland.
Holland.
Oh
One of my
man, it
favorite
was
places.
awesome.
Did you make them wear antlers over there? And they make you wear wooden shoes, probably.
Well, actually, we didn't have the antlers back then. I've kind of added those, but I loved going there. That was one of our first jobs where everything was sent ahead, and it was one of our first jobs where we got off the plane and everything was set up.
Wow.
We got to do a
Nice.
concert situation, so
Isn't that
it was
wild?
cool. It was wonderful.
So was there a big attendance over there?
Very big. It was a sort of like a convention center type situation, and it was a group called the Harvest Festival, and we went over as a big group, and it was wonderful fun.
That's
They
cool.
were they really liked us, and I liked the way the streets were laid out. They had one section there; it was almost like 4 lanes wide, and all the restaurants had everybody was outside. They had tables outside. And there, of course, we were talking about that. Everybody drinks beer, and they even had shops where you could go buy some herbal stuff,
Wow.
But you had to smoke or whatever right in the shop.
Oh,
you
really?
couldn't walk around with it, but it was like, wow.
Did they have a lot of red lights there?
They did have a red light section. We didn't go visit that section, but yes, they did, and they had all the ladies in the windows and stuff like that. So. Most of the guys ended up there.
Mama Bell is probably turning off the radio right now after that change.
Oh, she quit listening to us.
She quit listening a long time ago. Yeah, we try to keep it a family show, but
It was
then
too much exercise for her to have to turn the knob down and turn it back up.
yeah, on the internet, on the computer, we got a turn dial. Well, good. So, tell us about how you got into music yourself. Was it your mom and dad? Were they musical themselves? Or?
My dad's played music since he was 16, and this is one of my favorite stories since you asked, and I'll tell you. He was raised on a farm there in Fayetteville, Tennessee, and they had mules. They didn't have a tractor. They had mules, and they went out and turned the fields with these mules, and they're a local Higgins Funeral Home. A lot of people may know Higgins Funeral Home. But the older gentleman, was a bass player. He played the big bull bass. And Dad's first time he heard it, he fell in love with it. He says, I got to learn to play this. So Mr. Higgins started teaching him how to play. And then when they had a funeral or something, he couldn't go to a job. My dad would go play. So he loved this thing. So he decided he wanted his own bass. So he started doing other people's fields after he finished with his family. He'd make 50 cents a day.
Oh, wow.
With these mules, and finally he saved enough money, got $300, and he ordered a bass from Germany. It was sent over here in a big, huge wood crate, and this is during the Depression, and of course, nobody had money, none. And so And his father had passed away and his grandfather had passed away. So it was just his grandmother, his mother, and his sister. So here's this one guy amongst all these women. And this box shows up, and his mother and his grandmother are like, what is it? What is it? So he opens it up, and here's this instrument, this big bull bass. And they can't believe that he spent $300, hard-earned money, on this. And they wouldn't let him bring it in the house. They made him put it in the barn.
Oh, no.
So he got a job.
Sounds like my wife.
He was about 16. So his first job, he went to play. He made more in one night than they made in a whole month. The bass came in and had a place in the living room. But he's always loved music, always played, and so it's just always been around. We weren't forced into it or had to take lessons. As we each showed an interest in it, he made sure there were people around for us to get lessons and stuff.
Well, that's really cool. That's cool. So your first time getting together with someone and playing was about, how old were you then?
Probably I was 11 years old, 10, 11. I started when I was 10. And then my brother got a plastic ukulele for Christmas. And I had just turned the age where I didn't want to go outside and play in the mud puddles and run around and do that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I sat down and started playing the little ukulele. And then my dad took me down. I traded it in for a wood one, a little bit bigger, and then finally traded that in for a guitar. And by about that time, I was getting enough attention. My sister and my brother decided they wanted to play. So my brother started learning how to play steel guitar, and my sister learned to play bass.
Oh, wow.
In fact, I got a picture on the wall. One of these times I'll bring it down so you can see it. But Carl Perkins, Kim got so good, that's my sister, she got so good that when he came up to Anchorage, Alaska to play, she played bass for him.
Oh, wow.
All right.
And she used to have to stand on an orange crate. She was like 4'11".
That's really cool. All right, so you meet Elmo in California. You got to tell us how, and not perform the song yet, but you got to tell us how the song came about. You know, you guys didn't write it, right?
No, we did not write it. A fellow by the name of Randy Brooks wrote this. And I just recently saw something he put out there, and he said it was based on basically his grandma who liked to tipple a little at Christmas. And so it was kind of based on her. And then, who's the real famous country singer out of Merle Haggard? He wrote some kind of Christmas song about, I guess it was kind of sad.
Okay.
And that upset Randy. He said he needs to tell the truth. And Randy has a weird sense of humor anyway. So that's where he was kind of inspired by his grandmother and
Merle's
Merle
too.
Haggard, yeah.
I like hearing the stories behind the songs, how they come about, how much of it is true or based off of reality, or how much of, some of these guys just go, no, none of this is true. I just wrote about something.
It just happened.
Yeah, and I think that's cool. I don't have that gift. I beat stuff with sticks, so that's what I do. But I love to hear, like Zach Kerber, talk about writing the songs about his kids and coal miners, and and even though he's never been a coal miner, he can relate.
Yeah,
it's just kind of cool how they come up with that. So, based off of his grandmother, who gets a little happy in Christmas, and Merle Haggard tune.
right.
Jason, you probably know the Merle Haggard tune, so if the Hillbilly Heartthrob is out there listening still.
He just sent me a text message. I'm supposed to tell you that he's sorry he couldn't be here to hear you. We're not.
We're not.
We're so.
He wanted to say Merry Christmas to everybody.
You taking time off to talk? Get out there and shovel that driveway again.
That's right.
So, and we need to turn Rebecca's mic on too if you get a chance
he
there, Brian.
Said that
That's
he wishes
number
he can't
8.
he can't get this radio station because it's not coming in. Probably because the snow's too
That's
deep.
probably it's his service provider because we are
Because
fine.
I checked it and it's fine here.
We are fine, up and running. So, Jason, if it's cutting out, restart your computer and start over. What's that? yeah. So, anyways, let's get back to the story. So, this gentleman wrote the song.
And we were playing up at Hyatt Lake Tahoe. We did the Nevada circuit for about 5 years. And Hyatt Lake Tahoe was one of our favorite places to play.
And you were doing bluegrass at that time?
Yeah.
In Tahoe?
In Tahoe. We were one of the first groups to come in with bluegrass. We had a full show. We'd do a full show. And but anyway, and we did novelty, mostly novelty. And Randy Brooks was with a group called Young Country, and they were from Texas, around the, I'd say, College Station area. They were from College Station. And they were just getting ready to leave, and we were coming in behind them. And half the band got off and away. And Randy and they were having trouble with their van. They couldn't quite get it started, so they were working on that. You know how musicians are in their vehicles.
Oh, yeah.
And so anyway, we came in, set up, and we're getting ready to play, and a big snowstorm came in. And, of course, they closed all the roads, so Randy and them couldn't go out. So they came in to watch our first show or sit in, watch us perform. After our first set, Randy comes up and says, listen, I have just written a song. I think you guys would be perfect. It'd be a perfect song for you guys. Mm-hmm. He says, my band doesn't want to do it. And so we went back during our first break, went back to the dressing room, and Randy played the song for us. We came back out and did it on the next set. The audience went nuts. And we said, can we take it and record it? And he hadn't published it, anything. So my parents had a publishing company, so we set him up, and we got it published and recorded within I think it was September that we got it, September, October. And it was out by that December of that first December, so it was only a couple of months. Yeah, we heard it. We knew we had something good.
So do you think Randy's band is kicking themselves to this day? Going, we had this hit, and we said no.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm sure they did. They're probably going, oh, what were we thinking?
Every time they hear that song during Christmas time, they shut the radio off as they're driving their '67 Chevy, car. I think that's funny. It happens all the time, and like I say, it's not Christmas without that song. And again, we're going to have you perform that here in a little bit. But is there a song you'd like to kick off?
Well, I noticed that Joey's in here, and I'd love to do Rocky Top. That's just one of my favorite bluegrass songs.
We all have to stand up and put our hand over
Joey,
the heart.
Joey, do you play banjo? Just started. Now, Joey played here last week with his bluegrass band, and bless his heart, Joey, if you get another lesson or two in, he's going to get good at this thing. We won't even have to mic Joey because it'll come over top of that microphone as loud as Joey is. But they're going to do Rocky Top, so we got Joey Gibson and Miss Patsy Trigg together. And yeah, Jason says, he's standing up with his hand on his heart.
I'm not Jason, by the way.
Well, you look just like him. Same hairline.
He's almost as pretty as I am.
He's almost as pretty as you are.
You definitely don't do this song down in Alabama.
No. Right now, I think Cindy's walking out the door. Yeah. Okay. Joey's done. He just played his whole song right there.
Yeah. 173 notes.
They give you a hard time on that, don't they?
Oh, we always do. Yeah.
You want to kick it off?
Just how fast you want to do it. I got you. All right, here we go. Ready?
Wish that I was on old Rocky Top down in the Tennessee hills. Ain't no smoggy smoke on Rocky Top, ain't no telephone bill. Once I had a boy on Rocky Top, half bear, the other half cat. Wild as a mink, but sweet as soda pop, I still dream about that. Rocky Top, you'll always be home, sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee. Okay, Joey. Once two strangers climbed on Rocky Top, round in a rocket by far. All I know is it's a pity life can't be simple or far. Corn won't grow at all on Rocky Top, ground's too rocky by far. That's why all the corn on Rocky Top comes in a mason jar. Rocky Top, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee. One more, Joey. I've had years of cramped up city life, trapped like a duck in a pen. Wow. All I know is it's a pity life can't be simple again. Rocky Top, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee. Rocky Top, Tennessee.
Okay,
That's
I think
pretty awesome.
That was pretty good. Now try it again, and Joey, I think you'll get it right this time.
Well, it's ironic. I was going to say he's wearing Tennessee orange. So
Hey, real quick, our secretary handed us this. I was supposed to say Cheryl Richmond, Peggy Cole, and Charles Garvin all liked the show on Facebook or something.
Yes.
Carly Kelly commented, "Love button." I don't. Jason's,
What?
Jason's no longer on this show right now.
Yeah, Jason's
And
in Michigan.
Charlie Tate commented on the picture of you with your hat. He said, "Wow."
Charlie, I'm doing it because Miss Trigg has let me have the hat, and I think it's. But you got to look. You got the diva with the little princess crown on there, and you got Larry with his antlers all lit up, and James, he's like a little small buck is what he is there. So he's a little reindeer.
What is that?
He's just a buck and a half. That's all he is.
It's a buck, a 6-pointer.
About 50 cents.
Yeah. So now the music thing has led to other venues for you. You got into acting and you got into commercials.
Yeah.
And and I remember it. I don't know if everyone else. I actually YouTubed the commercial. You're the Two Scoops lady.
I am, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that. That's cool.
That
I
was-
remember that.
That was my very first commercial that I ever did. We were out on the road traveling, and at one point I thought, we got to start doing something else to begin to diversify and become better known. And so we had a bass player at that time. His name was Richard Green. And he came in and says, I just landed a commercial. You remember that? I fall into the gap. Remember that?
Yeah.
Well, he did that. That was his voice.
Really?
And he said, you know how much I made to go in and just do that one little thing? And he told us about $60,000 to go in
What?
and do that.
Hey, I'm for hire if anyone out there is listening.
And this is way back then. I
Yeah.
mean, think how long ago that was. So anyway, I said, well, now that sounds pretty good. We could use some extra money around here. So I look in the thing, and they're offering classes. This fellow by the name of Squire Friedel, who did all the Toyota commercials in the 70s and 80s. He gave a class, and from that one I went to another one by Greg Snezell, who did all of Toyota. He was the actual producer of that. He offered a class, and I took his class, and they had an audition in his class, and they were looking for an all-American mom. And so, and this is all across the United States. It's not just in California. This thing went out all over the place. And so I went to this audition, and I cried all the way home because I thought, God, I did so terrible after all this training because I didn't look like anybody there, you know. And I was real upset, and I cried most of the way home. And we lived way out out of town. It took over an hour to get home, and so Elmo says, "Turn around and go back. You got to call back. You're going back." And I went, "What?" And so anyway, I go back there, and out of all these thousands of people who auditioned for the final run, they put me in a room with a bunch of Swedish people that were like really tall, and they were all blondes. And here I am, this little brunette running around, and they wanted us to square dance and go yeehaw. And so I got it from that.
Wow.
And it was fun. We did it up in Napa Valley in one of the vineyards up there.
Yeah, did you get to sample a little wine and everything?
No, this was for Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
Yeah.
2 scoops of
that's right,
raisin.
yeah.
So there was no wine. It was just cereal. Got to eat a lot of cereal, though. But it was fun. And they nicknamed me 2 scoops for quite a while after that. You taking off, Joey? That's what happens when you play with these young guys.
Yeah, it's a youngin'. And Brian, if you get a chance, we still don't have Rebecca on the mic.
Is there a button on it?
She's number 8. Just yell. There you go.
I think there's a short. Or I'm just not talking.
Yeah, it sounds louder when you say something.
As Debbie Champ would say, talking to Mike, talking to Mike, talking to Mike. She's so sweet.
You're going to talking to Mike, dear.
No,
That was Brian, right?
That was Brian.
that was Brian.
That was me.
I have been
Debbie's
talking
going to get me one day if she hears this.
Yeah, that's true. And then you were in a movie where you played the general's wife. Is that correct?
It was during, I guess it was when Kennedy came out, and they had the big barbecue, and they show him coming around.
Mm-hmm.
And I was supposed to be a general's. I like this story. I had a big appetite. I was very active. I could eat 3 big square meals a day and never put on an ounce because we were just real active and running around all the time. So we get there, and I did have breakfast, but by the time they decided to feed us lunch, they come up and you've heard the story about them going up to one of the burger places and saying, "I want 1,000 hamburgers and 1,000 French fries." Well, that's what they basically did. And they pull in there and back up, and we're getting in line, and since I'm not a principal, you just get whatever they're going to feed you.
Right.
So this guy in front of me says, "I'll take 2 hamburgers, 2 fries, and a drink." So I said, "I'll have the same thing." And he says, "But you're a girl. You only get 1 hamburger, 1 order of fries." I said, "But I'm hungry." He says, "I'm sorry, that's all you get." So I went over and ate that, and I was starving. And so they had to run the barbecue scene again, and it was good barbecue. They filled our plates up, and we're supposed to just pretend like we're eating, and you go back and you shovel it all back in those bins, and they serve it again, but you're not supposed to really eat it. But I was so hungry, I turned in an empty plate. But that was, other than that, it was great fun. But
And that was the movie The Right Stuff.
The Right Stuff, yeah, that was with the astronauts.
Yeah. The John Glenn story.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just pretty cool because, again, our lives are crossed. I mean, I'm not like I've ever met her, but I've seen her on the 2 Scoops, and you see her in movies and stuff. And I just think that's just kind of cool that,
Oh, thank you.
You hear Grandma got run over by a reindeer, and you get to know her by that, but then just all the other things that she's done. And it's all come because of music, and it's all kind of led everywhere. There was something else you did. I was reading your bio here a little bit, trying to remember. You got into an MTV music video.
Yeah, that was our video.
That was yours?
The grandma video.
And you were in that.
We shot that in our living room, and we did it on film and transferred it over to video. And so that at that time, that was a pretty big deal, having shoot on film and then transfer to video, because video at that time was real flat. It's real good now.
Right.
Has a lot better quality, but at that time, had no substance to it. So.
But you're on MTV back when they had music.
Yeah,
when they called us and said we had just finished recording that, and they called us and said, "We would like to put that on MTV." I'm the one who was home, answered the call, and I said, "What?" And they said, I think it was 3/4 inch. Mm-hmm. They said we need a 3/4 inch. I said, "It's on its way." It's on its way. I didn't know what to say. I was like flabbergasted because MTV was a really big deal.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, "It's in the mail. It's in the mail." And I just kind of kept saying that. And then after I hung up, I walked around the house for 30 minutes trying to calm down.
So,
It was so cool.
how'd you feel when you heard Grandma got run over by a reindeer on the radio the first time.
Oh, the first time, for anybody out there who is in the entertainment business or recording, the first time you hear your song over the radio, it's like, it's hard to explain. It's like, oh my gosh, that's really me, or that's us, that's our song.
Yeah.
And then when you keep hearing it, it's like, holy cow, this is cool. I mean, but it was like, it just takes your breath away. It was exciting.
Did you get kind of well, I guess maybe for family and friends, kind of that, oh, you're a star now, famous. Did people recognize you at that point in time? Because, again, that was before YouTube and stuff.
People didn't really recognize us. They recognized the song.
Right.
And from being in San Francisco in the Bay Area, like that morning show and a few things like that, we had gotten to where we were regulars on those, and they would have us come in. So locally, a few people knew us, but basically it was the song. People didn't really know Elmore or myself.
Which makes it kind of nice, doesn't it? I mean,
it does. I mean, I guess so. Yeah, because
they're not chasing you down or asking for, autographs while you're eating lunch or anything like that.
I wouldn't mind, but it's okay.
All right, so if you see Patsy out eating lunch at Shoney's, ask her for an autograph.
Me. I'll buy you lunch.
There you go. Well,
all right. Well, thank you.
It's Shoney's is the date. So, well, let's get back to another song.
I want to do an original that I just recently wrote.
Okay.
We got this new song out. It's a Merry Christmas When Pigs Fly. And we decided there's a songwriters group down in Huntsville that I go to a lot. And we had a National Pig Day to kind of help kick off this song this past year. And everybody had to write a song about a pig. And so I had just recently, remember, I think last year I brought the moon pie.
Yes.
I brought that, and I had just found blues, and I really like it a lot, as far as like something else to do. Mm-hmm. And so I wrote this song, and this song dates back, it's not actually a song, it was a poem. It dates back to 1728.
Oh, wow.
And this is one of those, This Little Piggy Went to Market,
mm-hmm.
and it goes back, the first time it was ever recorded was in 1728. It's just a little story. So I thought, if I got to do one, I really like blues, I'm going to do a song about the little piggies. And this is what I came up with. It goes like this right here. This little piggy went to market. This little piggy stayed home. This little piggy had roast beef. This little piggy had none. This little piggy lived on Beale Street, played the blues all night long. The first little piggy went to Beale Street. The second little piggy did too. The third little piggy's still eating roast beef. The fourth little piggy's humming a tune. The fifth little piggy's found his fame on Beale Street, playing the blues all night long. The first little piggy's blowing the trumpet. The second little piggy's running the bass. The third little piggy brought his drumsticks. The fourth little piggy scatting a tune. Scuddly out, down, down. The fifth little piggy signed with the Shoals. He's gone gold, playing the blues. They call themselves the little piggies. They're living high on the hog. Serving up the best blues cue as the crowd squeals with delight. Going wee, wee, wee all the way to the bank, playing those blues into the night. Going wee, wee, wee all the way to the bank, and playing those blues into the night. Thank you.
We should have had Patsy for our blues show a couple of weeks ago. We had a blues night here, and Patsy.
Did you?
Yeah, we could have had you, headline that thing. That was cool.
But that
Thank
was
you.
still the happiest blues song I've ever heard. It's hard for you to me see you doing blues, because you're like Miss Christmas or something, just the happiest.
She is like Mrs. Claus,
Thank you.
Yeah, she's always so happy. And
It's like, how you doing today? Well, my car broke down, and I don't have a job. Yeah.
well, it was kind of cute because she pulled up, and we knew it was her right away because when she drove up, her car has antlers on the top. So we go, that must be Patsy. So she's all happy and about the most happy, positive person we've seen in a long time. So
I really like to get into the Christmas holidays.
yes, you do, and you have the right to too. So, well, good. Now you have another Christmas tune that you wrote a book around, a children's book around.
Yeah, let me change. I'm gonna.
Oh, okay.
Brian, I'm gonna pull the plug. Say when. Okay. I'm gonna switch out to my ukulele. Oh, that reminds me of real quick a little story.
Mm-hmm.
Since we're talking about little piggies and everything, I keep thinking it's supposed to go through there. But anyway, this little pig was walking down the street, and he walks into the bar and goes up to the bar. He orders something to drink, and he says to the bartender, "Where's the men's room?" He says, "Right down the hall, go around the corner there, and it's the first door on your left." He says, "Okay." Pretty soon, here comes another little piggy, walks in the door, goes up to the bar and says, "I'll have a drink too." So he says, "Okay." He says, "By the way, where's your restroom?" And he says, "Go down the hallway, go down, turn there, and it's the first door on the left." Just a few more minutes, and here comes that third little pig coming in, and he comes up to the bar to order a drink, and the bartender gives him a drink. He says, "I suppose you want to know where the restroom is too." He says, "No, I'm the little pig that goes wee, wee, wee all the way home."
Where's our little drum fill? Be here all night.
That one was for James.
Thank you very much.
That was the best joke of the night, James.
I know.
She's working on you on that one.
Well, we did with this song right here is again a friend of mine. I co-wrote this with a friend, a songwriter, and he approached me with this idea, and I thought, not a bad idea. It should be a lot of fun, and it took us a little while to kind of get it rolling the way we wanted to. And he had the greatest names for the little pigs, and I don't know. We started out with it last year. I think I did it here last year. It was the first time I got a chance to perform it. And in the interim, we have a book out now. It's an e-book, so it's a download. We were going to try to have a hardback book, but that one just, with everything else we were doing, that one didn't come off. We've got you can download the song, and you can, or you can buy an audio version of the book and the song. And I'm trying to think. That's pretty much the three things that we did there.
And where would they get those at?
That's on CD Baby.
CD Baby.
If you just go on Google and type in the name, it's amazing the stuff that'll come up. Mm-hmm. And then we also did a video this past year, and we did it out at the farm. And we had a choice between 30-pound pigs and 10-pound pigs. So we got 8 little 10-pounders and brought them in, and we made special harnesses for them and put wings on them. And so if you go to YouTube, you'll see our video of the song. You get ready to say something?
No.
So we did.
I'm just getting this mental picture.
I am too. I'm seeing like the Wizard of Oz version of the winged monkeys.
Yeah, really.
The winged pigs here.
And we did that, and then we just recently, this is going to be for next year, we worked with Dandy Toys, and we actually got the prototype, and I apologize. I was in such a rush going from one job to here. I forgot to grab the little pig, but he's a plush pig. He's about so big, and is beautiful. And Dandy is supposed to be the largest maker of all plush toys anywhere. Mm-hmm. And they fell in love with the song. They've made the prototype, and when you push his little foot, he sings the chorus, and his wings flap. He's got wings that flap.
So pigs finally fly now.
It's for real.
And then we contacted this lady. Her name is Beth Roos, and she does animation films for different programs. Mm-hmm. And we sent her a copy of it, and she just fell in love with it and wrote back, and she sent us a script within a rough draft, and she told us how much it would we'd have to set up front to make this thing. We said, why don't we wait a little while before we jump into
Let's get the plush toys selling a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
And then she called back about 2 weeks later and says, I've already got a sponsor. You don't have to pay a penny, and AMC's going to take it.
Oh, wow.
So we're set up for this next Christmas for AMC to do a cartoon, a 30-minute cartoon off of this song.
Oh, wow. Now, you're going to have to put that on Facebook, let everyone know when it's coming out.
Oh, we will. We'll definitely let you know. But this is kind of like the first time we've really said anything about it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fun.
I think that is absolutely cool.
I'm going to be Mrs. Claus, and I get to be Jack Frost. And
Really?
on the voices. So I'm excited.
That's pretty neat. So you can't give us an idea what the voice is of Jack Frost yet.
Well, they kind of tweak it a little bit and like put it up high, but it's like, dear Santa, the other day I was going to go in that round the world race, and you know what? That little old who's that tooth fairy? She beats me every time, and so I thought it would be good if I got used your reindeer. I hope you don't mind. I know I'm not gonna have him back till the 27th, but that'll be okay. I'm leaving my team instead. Oh, is that okay? Thank you, Santa.
You heard it here first. That's really cool. And then you're going to be Mrs. Claus, too.
Yeah.
Using your normal voice.
Just normal voice there.
Yeah, because
oh,
you are.
Santa, you sweetie.
Yeah. So
I'm looking forward to my Christmas gift.
Oh, wow. and it's a family show. So
Ho, ho, ho.
So we know where your mind is.
Do they know who they've got for Mr. Claus? They got...
No, she hadn't gotten that far, but she just said those two that I would get those parts.
Well, if you need a Mr. Claus,
she's hoping for George Clooney.
Clooney.
What is the lady who was on Hee Haw, Lulu?
Mm-hmm. Lulu. Mm-hmm.
She's going to be one of the elves.
Oh, wow.
And she gets to be one of the ducks. There's a couple of the ducks that are.
Oh, they ought to get Gerald Smith for the ducks.
The Georgia Quacker himself.
Yeah, because he was on Hee Haw too. He was a Georgia Quacker. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, he performed at our show out here last year in June, and he does dueling banjos, where he has a guitar recorded on a CD, and then he does the duck noise and call response to it. It is brilliant. It's fast.
Oh, it sounds awesome.
And here's this man out there. He's hilarious, and he's out there doing the Georgia Quacker thing. But yeah, he does duck calls. So if they need a duck guy, Gerald Smith.
Gerald Smith. I'll have to remember. I'll write that down before I get off of here.
He was on the last year of Hee Haw. So yeah, he's a phenomenal guy. So he'd be the guy I would recommend. He's got qualifications. So this is the one you came out with last year.
Yeah, this is the one. Last year was the first year we had it. Okay. Was that good enough right there, Brian? Okay. I know it, but just in case, I have this thing that happens sometimes. Get senior moments every now and then, you know? 2 weeks before Christmas, Santa walked out to the barn. As soon as he opened the door, shouted with great alarm, "Oh no! Someone's taken my reindeer, not a single one in sight. Without my trusted reindeer, there'll be no Christmas Eve night." Santa got another shock. He found a pig in every stall. On each door was a funny name, made Santa laugh after all. Ho, 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 ho. I'll be the laughing stock of Christmas, there can be no doubt. Such silly, silly, funny names I dare not shout. Pork chop, fatback, bacon and pinky. Oh my goodness, there's a patty cake and a piggy, a ham bone and a stinky. It's a Merry Christmas when pigs fly. It's a Merry, Merry Christmas as they sail the winter sky. All dreams can come true if you really, really try. It's a Merry Christmas when pigs fly. Santa saw what must be done, the children can't go lacking. So he hooked up each little pig, said, come on, let's get cracking. Daily practice made them perfect, Santa shouted with glee. Christmas Eve everyone will see how smart pigs can be. Santa said tenderly, you pigs taught me to believe. The pigs flew like eagles, they flew high up over the trees. The people who looked up that night saw 8 pigs pulling the sleigh. The entire world got a shock that night when they heard Santa say, now pork chop, now fatback, now bacon and pinky, on patty cake, on piggy, on ham bone, and you too, Stinky. It's a Merry Christmas when pigs fly. It's a Merry, Merry Christmas as they sail the winter sky. All dreams can come true if you really, really try. It's a Merry Christmas when pigs fly. It's a Merry Christmas when pigs fly. Yeah, it's a Merry Christmas when pigs fly.
This portion of the show was brought to you by Jimmy Dean Sausage, where they're flying off the shelves now at your local Walmart.
Yeah, you got to get a sausage, endorsement there. So, how did the whole thing with the pigs come about? What?
There again, it's like that. I've been several years going to the songwriters group of people, and we all kind of would take, every now and then somebody say, oh, let's work on a song or let's do this or do that. And this one fellow, in fact, he's 82 years old. He came over to me and says, I got a song and I want you to record this with me. And I said, okay, let me hear it. And he comes back from around the 40s type of music. And he was saying it real slow. And he says, it's a Merry Christmas. And there wasn't much of a melody line and stuff like that. And so we were kind of tossing it back and forth. I thought, it's really cute, but he was really kind of holding on to his idea of the melody. And I said, there's a couple of other people here that were kind of close to his age. And I thought, why don't you work with them? Because they'll probably get that same kind of music going. I said, I'm having trouble hearing what you're wanting to do. And finally he says, take it home and write it. So I kind of started playing with it a little bit and came up with a jazzier tune, like a more up-tempo thing. And but I'll say he came up with the names of the pigs, everything.
Oh, wow.
And I like it. I really liked it. I just didn't like it slow.
Yeah.
I'm not a good balladeer, so.
Well, I always wondered, with the pigs and stuff. I mean, Pink Floyd did the same thing. They got the Pigs Fly thing on there.
Oh, that's right.
And you've got the pig thing going on there. And I'm just kind of curious. And again, we like to hear the backgrounds where the stuff comes from. It's always the coolest part of our job is to hear how that all came about. I think that's pretty neat. Got a cool picture of you on the internet.
Uh-oh. I'm afraid of those.
No, I like the one with you in the front yard with the big giant reindeer, and you got the sleigh and stuff. And we had a surprise for you. We had a 9-foot reindeer on our front porch today.
Yeah.
And apparently, the little motor didn't work. Like it'd blow it up, and then it would fall back down. It'd blow it up, and it'd be there, and then fall back down. So if you ever saw Old Yeller, kind of at the end of the movie. We had an Old Yeller experience, so our 9-foot reindeer is in a 2x2 box over here.
You shot him?
Not quite, but I was thinking about it. But we were expecting grandbabies to drive by, and I don't want to give them kind of nightmares. Reindeer is gone, but you got one on your picture. But the picture I think is cool is you're standing there and you're pointing at some gold records on your wall.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's neat. Now, is that when Grandma went gold and platinum? Because it's done both. And
we just recently found out she's sold over 15 million copies.
Wow.
That's new from the last time I talked to you all.
15 million copies.
Yeah.
And like I said, and I've known your song since, a couple of years out of high school. And one thing that kind of surprised me, I think, and correct me on the date, I think it was like 1983. is when it went to the number one.
Gold, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was on our own label. Everybody, everybody said there's no way you can do it. And here again is this kind of like being in a neighborhood where like a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
My dad, from being around this area, he knew a lot of the people out in Nashville and worked with them. And he had a recording studio, but he mostly did gospel.
Mm-hmm.
That was his main area, was gospel, but he did have the contacts. And we knew what it was doing out on the West Coast. We had it with Tower Records. Peaches approached us. I mean, we were starting to get a lot of people, and we couldn't keep up with pressing the number of records everybody was asking for. So I called Dad and said, what can we do? And he said, he called a guy, Joe Gibson of Nationwide Sound in Nashville, and that's kind of what they do. They help produce records, and of course that was back in the late 70s.
Right.
And I haven't been able to find anybody like that yet for now, but that at that time. And so we lined up with him, and we had paid him so much a week, and then he got people all along the East Coast. We had the West Coast, he got the East Coast, and that's where we went number one, was by getting out there, and he had all these people going around getting it played and stuff.
And we know Bing Crosby's White Christmas is the number one selling Christmas song of all time, and your song beat that out 5 years in a row.
You got it.
And I did not know that until last year. Bing Crosby's White Christmas, her song beat it out 5 years in a row.
We were the number one song 5 years, of 83, 84, 85, 86, and 87.
And again, until those two songs are played on the radio, it's not Christmas.
That's right.
So, and I have not heard either one of them on the radio yet this year. And if it goes by and I don't hear it, and Christmas goes by in a week, it's not Christmas.
It's kind of your fault because you run a radio station.
Yeah, but I don't, and her song is on there. So I've heard it on our radio station. It's already been playing.
Well, you're
It's
here
been
all the
playing.
time.
And bless his heart.
I got to tell you a story about Bing Crosby real quick. I don't think I've ever told this one.
Okay.
This is way before Grandma. Our band had only been together. We called ourselves the Homestead Act, and we were just beginning to start playing around different places. And this lady came up and said, if you're really going to be serious about this, because everywhere you go, you're basically playing for exposure. Musicians know this. You never get paid. They say, get there and like you play for some political thing, and they say, we're going to start with you. Well, the minute the camera comes on, 10,000 people show up, and you're like, you can't see if they tried. So we did a lot of those freebie-like things. Well, she says, what you got to do, the first thing you got to do is, even if it's a small amount, get a contract and make them pay you. So they had the big, Bing Crosby put on a big Christmas special in San Francisco every year. And so we were signed up for that, and we got a contract for $25. Ooh. And I mean, it's nothing, but at least it was like a contract. Well, who's the guy, let's see, who is the guy who had played through the megaphone from the 30s and 40s?
Rudy Valley?
Rudy Valley. Mm-hmm. Rudy Valley went on first. And everybody's supposed to do about 15, 20 minutes. He had Now, they got the San Francisco Symphony there. I mean, the orchestra there. I mean, the music is just awesome. The people they got there, they got dance grooves. They got all this entertainment. Rudy Valley walks out with a little cassette player. He starts playing, and it's like 30 minutes is going by. And I think he must have had a 90-minute tape. Because he gets over to this one thing, and he finally gets to the end. He pops it, and he goes to flip it over. And he flips it over and pushes the play button. Is getting ready to start, and they come out and say, well, thank you very much. And they ushered him off, and now they're throwing acts out right and left.
Oh my.
And it's usually all the people who are kind of new. Mm-hmm. And so they came over to us and they said, we're not going to be able to use you today. And we said, fine, just give us our $25 and we're out of here. They said, what? We're paying you? And so we said, yeah, we showed them our contract. And so we were one of the few groups that got to stay and play, and we went on right before Bing Crosby.
Oh,
but
wow.
at that time, we didn't even dream of Grandma at that point. We had just started. I think that's a cool, our
really
paths
neat.
crossed twice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you got to meet Bing. How was
He was awesome. He got up on stage. It's like, I've got this mic, and in order to be heard, I've got to be right on it. Mm-hmm. This man, and this isn't like in a pretty big place, he was at the back of the stage singing. You could hear him on the entire room.
Wow.
And just incredible voice. And of course, they had the orchestra playing, but he was just awesome.
Andy, one of our guitar teachers here, a phenomenal musician, plays 12 different instruments. We go back and forth. He's a lot younger than I am. We go back and forth introducing each other to different songs and our genre and stuff. And we were talking about your song and Bing Crosby's song. And I said, I'll tell you, Bing Crosby, A White Christmas is beautiful, but I tell you, the best Christmas song Bing Crosby ever did was with David Bowie.
Yes.
And I watched that live on the Bing Crosby
Yeah.
show. Of course, it probably was taped. It probably went live, but I saw it when they showed it that night. And of course, me being a young rock and roller, David Bowie was. I liked him, but I wouldn't want. I'm a big Beatles fan, and of course, I follow David Bowie. I thought, well, this combination is not going to work. And when they came on together, and Bing Crosby and him started singing "The Little Drummer Boy," and when David Bowie hit his part over top of Bing Crosby, gives me goosebumps to this day.
Wow.
So that is my all-time, other than Reindeer, all-time favorite Christmas song. And it's
you're
just a
sweet.
beautiful song. But Bing, I just love his voice for that era. And it just seems on TV. Just seemed like
It's so
the nicest
easy.
guy.
It's just like he was awesome. He had time for everybody and stuff like that. He had Catherine, that was his second wife, was with him, and then the two kids. And this was after his first wife had died, and he had Catherine with him, and they were just so nice. And his son was learning banjo, and of course Elmo plays banjo, so they invited us over to their room
Wow.
in between, and Elmo let him play the banjo, and they kind of talked about it a little bit.
Isn't that wild?
It was neat. And then to come back about 5 or 6 years later and say, "Sorry, we're going to knock you out of first."
Yeah. Thanks, Bing.
Real quick, we have another list.
We have another list.
Colleen Adams, Jason Adams, Carla Kelly, Sadie Simmons, Twitty, John Turner, Terry Lee, all like the show. Chris Hutchins likes Uncle Larry's picture. And Jason Adams says, "Gee, I missed out on the antlers this year, but I have to say James still looks good in those." So,
Here comes part 3.
oh, hold on. Page 2.
So people are actually listening to us. See?
This is awesome.
We're not making this up.
Wickle, I guess to
Steve
Mark
Weichel?
Irish. Weichel, yes. To Mark Irish, nice hat. And Jason
Thank you,
Adams,
Steve.
To Mark Irish, oh my God, that is hilarious.
Who said that?
Jason Adams.
Oh, Jason Adams. Okay.
And now you know the rest of the story.
There you go.
Page 3.
The cool thing about Facebook, I'm not the greatest on computers and stuff, but
Tell me about it.
I just did. But anyways, we
He's not the greatest on computers.
so
Okay, thank you.
we
Makes two of us.
it's just kind of cool when people out of the woodwork that you grew up with 35, 40 years ago find you on Facebook, or we find them on Facebook. And I think that's one of the coolest things. I can't stand that everyone's got to get on there and talk about what they ate for lunch this morning, and
Yeah.
I don't really care, and that they don't like the color green today. Who cares? But when all of a sudden you find people like Steve Weichel from Wisconsin, and I don't think even Steve lives in Wisconsin anymore. I think he moved out by the looks of the pictures. Looked like he moved out where it's nice and warm all the time. But Grant Steincounter, who I grew up with, now is in Atlanta, Georgia, and they're all coming out of the woodwork. I think
That's
I
cool.
met probably 80% of the kids I grew up with when I was 5, 6, 7,
Wow.
8, 10 years old, and going through junior high from my old neighborhood. I think I got about 80% of them as my friends on Facebook. So, Steve, thanks for commenting. Wherever you are in the nation, I'm glad you're listening. We just like to have fun. So, let's get back to some more music.
You want to do Grandma?
Do you want to do
don't-
that, or do you got one more you'd like to do ahead of that? If there's one more you'd like to do,
Would y'all like a blues song or a regular song?
Let's hear a blues song.
Yeah, let's
we,
wanna-
do the
Larry
blues.
plays harp. He loves blues.
Okay. After I got my moon pie guitar, I went to. Well, I got to see. Have you ever heard of Microwave Dave?
Yes.
Yes.
He's awesome. I mean, he's probably one of the best guitar players on the planet. And he had a big hit with that song Roadrunner. But after I got that, I went to hear him play. And like I said, I got that guitar. I saw him play the cigar box guitar. Went and bought one the next day. Wrote a song and replayed it the next day after that. But then I went back and I've listened to him many times. And I didn't bring a recording, but I'll bring one by for you. I went in and recorded like that one I just did, the Little Piggies, and I did this other song called Howlin' at the Moon, and he's on the guitar. He plays the guitar on it,
Oh, that's cool.
and I'll bring that by because he is just amazing.
Sure. Now, is he still around? Is he
Yeah.
down your neck of the woods down there?
If you go down to Huntsville, like where A&M is, It's on Meridian. There's a place called Mama Annie's, and it's like homemade food. It is just one of the best meals. There's everything is fresh. They don't have anything canned there at all. But he plays there every Monday night from 5 until 7.
Wow.
And you basically, we're as close right here. It's just like sitting at a big table together. And he is just amazing.
Every Monday.
Every Monday.
See, now you lived in Huntsville for quite a while.
All my life.
Yeah, so we'll have to get directions from Cindy, and we'll go down there on a Monday sometime. You said he's there from 5 to 8?
5 to 7.
5 to 7.
2 hours.
We got
Alright.
to
Some
do
of
a
the
show
best-
out of Huntsville.
We ought to do a show in Huntsville.
Listen, that would be a great place to do it because I'll tell you, the food is good. And if he's there, holy cow.
Well,
Yeah.
we need to try to get a contact in there and find out how to get down there and talk to those people. She's pointing at the IT guru over here.
Oh, that's thumbs up back here. I'm all about that. Some
Well,
good
we need to-
food and
we
live
need-
broadcast.
We need to find someone that knows them down there or something. We can get in there and maybe do a show live remote. We do a live remote every Sunday, and I want to thank Brian because he's been keeping up on that, especially since it's football season and I don't move from my rocking chair from Sundays. But we do a live show every Sunday from technically from 7 to 10, but Brian goes a little early and hangs late. But from the Commodore Grill, he does Debbie Champion's songwriter nights every Sunday night up there. So if you like good songwriter music and original stuff, great singer-songwriters perform up there. But we do a live remote from there every Sunday, and I say we. Brian does the live remote every Sunday
Mark.
up there.
Mr. Football.
Yeah, well,
There you go.
we got 2 more regular season games to go, and then the playoffs and Super Bowl, and then I'll be back up there.
Brian makes it sound like he does a lot of work. I've watched him. He plugs into Debbie's board and he gets him a drink and something to eat, and he's done for the night.
Debbie makes it so easy. It's
She
so
does.
easy
Debbie
up
knows
there.
what she's doing.
She does
love
all the
it.
talking. Her sound mixing of the artist is phenomenal. But now, James, you remind us now there's a 10-year anniversary.
10-year anniversary. I want to say on the 15th, which
I think you're right.
a Wednesday night. And there's going to be David Lee and Tony Lane. They're the guys that wrote Letters from Home about John Michael Montgomery, Brian White, Stella Parton, Gerald Smith will be there. A ton of other hit songwriters.
I'd like to make that. So we'll have to get on her website, which is, Brian, what's exactly her website? Is it the Commodore Grill?
DebbieChampion.com.
Or make it easy like that. DebbieChampion.com. It has everything on there for
It
that.
has a
So-
schedule on there.
And then she posted, I know on Facebook, she posts the schedule every day. She's up there 5 days a week and posts that. So if you get a chance, get out there and check that out. If you can't get to it, like a lot of our listeners are from all over the world, just tune in to WFNCJams.com. You don't even have to click on the click to enter. Just go to the main front page that pops up there, turn your speakers on to listen.
Wow.
It's amazing the sound quality that Debbie has coming out of there. It sounds like they're in your living room.
Wow.
So check it out, and you get some good music. But if we can do that anywhere, we'd like to do that. We might head down to Huntsville if we can get that worked out. Maybe get a night where
hope you
you might be
do.
down there.
I go there every Monday just to listen.
You're there every Monday.
Oh, man, I love it.
Hey,
Yeah.
and she said she'd buy our meal, too.
Wait a minute.
I remember that.
Now we got you on audio and videotape saying that now.
Uh-oh.
So if you're down there on Monday, maybe you might throw a good word out for us.
I will. I definitely will.
And say we'd like to come down there and do a remote, and then first of the year or anytime in January or early as possible would be cool to get down there because we're always suckers for good food.
And it won't be too expensive for you. There's only, 12 of us?
Well, I was going to say I'll take a bribe, to destroy this evidence.
Brian, you can't reach the evidence.
His arms are too short. All right. Well, you got a blues tune ready.
I do. This is one called Howlin' at the Moon.
Okay.
And like you say, I don't know where these ideas come from, but they just kind of happen sometimes. Who is the guy down in Louisiana? I'm trying to think of his name. But he's a real well-known blues, kind of a Louisiana blues player. But you might recognize a little bit of it. But it goes like this right here. Do I have it plugged in?
That's awful short.
Let's see.
Is the volume up?
Okay. Everything is right, everything is wrong. You wake up in the morning and you find that your dog is gone. You might have to haul off and just kick the cat off There ain't nothing much you're gonna be able to do about that. Howling at the stars, howling at the moon. This old day just started out much too soon. Baby's in the kitchen, coffee's in the pot, eggs over easy and the bacon sizzling hot. Crawling out of bed like death warmed over. A late night a rambling and rolling in a clover. Howling at the stars, howling at the moon. This old day just started out way too soon. The cat hisses at me, the dog trots by. He's looking at me like I'm as worthless as an empty bowl of feed. My baby's not talking, that's fine with me. A hair of the dog is all that I need. Howling at the stars, howling at the moon. The day just started out way too soon. Everything is right, everything is wrong. You wake up in the morning and you find that your dog is gone. Well, you might have to haul off and just go kick that old cat. There ain't nothing much you're gonna be able to do about that. Ha ha. Howling at the stars, howling at the moon. This old day just started out much too soon. Howling at the stars, howling at the moon. This old day just started out much too soon.
Very nice.
Thank you.
So you kind of gelled right into the blues stuff really nice.
Thank you. A lot of people said I missed my calling.
I mean, you very impressive.
Thank you.
That's good. Larry and I love the blues. Larry plays harp, so whenever our band plays out, Larry will jump on the harp and play blues, and it's just fun to watch him get into it.
It's fun. It's a real fun. It's just, yeah.
You can feel the music. It drives you. It drives you. So I like all kinds of blues. I'm still like that Texas blues, the Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff, where it's a little faster and stuff. But then you can slow down, do the T-Bone Walker, and just some really good stuff. So let's get you ready for your big song.
I'm ready.
She's ready.
Nothing like going from blues to Grandma got run over.
Yeah, or you're wide range there, Patsy. But we want to thank all of our guests that are listening from all over everywhere. We want to thank you again. Make sure you post your comments on our Facebook page, and don't forget we go live every Tuesday night here. But next 2 Tuesdays we're off. We have Christmas Eve next Tuesday, so we wish everybody a happy Merry Christmas and also a Happy New Year's, because the following Tuesday is New Year's Eve. We said this last year, Brian, we weren't going to do a New Year's Eve show, and then all of us showed up and we did one anyways because we had no life, so we were here.
Wasn't that when we did the best of?
We did the best of.
We made it through like 2 months.
We got through about 2 months worth of stuff and we just laughed our tails off.
This would be a lot more fun than most of the stuff going on out there. Everybody just gets real drunk and crazy, so this would be a lot more fun.
So it's safer.
Well, we have fun going to point out those people.
Yeah. So
and you're in a good, safe
I'm
place.
married to those people.
Yeah. By the way, happy New Year's, Trish. Anyways, so we want to thank everyone for listening, and again, tune back in, and Rebecca, hand Rebecca the mic real quick there, Larry. The first Tuesday of January, we have, is it John and
Mancini.
John Mancini.
Michael. His last name.
Michael, to be
John's
named
friend.
later. John's friend.
Natalie.
And Natalie.
is going to try to be here as well.
Who's that? Natalie?
John's other friend.
John's. John Mancini.
Got her a microphone.
We'll just say it's
John Mancini and
Natalie,
Friends.
Yes, and there you go.
That sounds like a folk
There you
group
go.
then. John Mancini and Friends will be here.
Yes.
They do gospel, and they were absolutely phenomenal when they were here for the Songwriter Night this last, the first Friday of the month they were here. And they did a great job harmonizing with each other. So they're going to be our first act to kick off 2014.
Right.
So make sure you check that out. That'll be live on Tuesday on the 7th, not 7th, at 7 o'clock. What is the date of that? The 3rd? I can't remember what our first. I have the calendar right in front of me, and I still can't read it. It's the 7th. It actually was the 7th. I was right. January the 7th at 7.
I like sevens.
I do too. Uh-oh. I'm getting another list here. Mike Griffin stated, Bob Wills and Roly Poly, one of my favorites. Thank you, Patsy.
Thank you.
And we did say, Big Mike sang that here every Tuesday. So Big Mike said, thank you. Bob Wills and Roly Poly. He sang it every Tuesday. We'd come in here and sing it and get that thing stuck in my head.
It's a fun song.
It's a great song. So, Larry, you got something you want to say?
Yeah, I just she's gonna sing her great song next.
Right.
And so I got Chris Hutchins. That's my son. And
Chris Hutchins?
My grandson is Ryan Hutchins. So
Okay.
I'd like to dedicate your song to them.
All right.
So they're up in Newfields, New Hampshire.
Excellent. Well,
Before I start it, real quick, I want to mention too. We've got some bracelets that we made just for fun. They're free, so if you want to come down here to the shop here, and what is it? It's called the Music Center.
The Family Music
Center. And if you come on down here, there'll be some free bracelets, and also the new song. Like if you want to get a CD and don't want to order it or download it, we're going to have some here at the Family Music Center also. So come on down here and say hi to the folks and pick up a copy.
we're right down here in Manchester, Tennessee, 1740 Hillsborough Boulevard, where it's sunny and 72 24/7 hours a day. Anyways, so great. Well, let's get the song.
Okay.
We're going to ask people if they like to sing the chorus line to
You
hop
have
in
to.
and sing the background.
Oh yes.
So sing along, but let's hear the classic.
Grandma got run over by a reindeer walking home from our house Christmas Eve. You can say there's no such thing as Santa. As for me and Grandpa, we believe. Now we're all so proud of Grandpa. No, she'd been drinking too much eggnog. And we begged her not to go. But she forgot her medication, and she staggered out the door into the snow. When we found her Christmas morning at the scene of the attack, she had hoof prints on her forehead and incriminating claws marks on her back. Ready? Grandma got run over by a reindeer, yeah, walking home from our house Christmas Eve.
Everybody.
You can say there's no such thing as Santa. As for me and Grandpa, we believe. Now we're all so proud of Grandpa. He's been taking this so well. See him in there watching football, drinking beer and playing cards with Cousin Mel. It's not Christmas without Grandma. All the family's dressed in black, and we just can't help but wonder, should we open up her gifts or send them back?
Send them back.
Yeah.
Send them back.
Grandma got run over by a reindeer walking home from our house Christmas Eve. You can say there's no such thing as Santa. As for me and Grandpa, we believe. Now the goose is on the table, and the pudding made of fig, and the blue and silver candles that would just have matched the hair in Grandma's wig. We warned all our friends and neighbors, better watch out for yourselves. They should never give a license to a man who drives a sleigh and plays with elves. Are you ready? Grandma got run over by a reindeer, yeah, walking home from our house Christmas Eve. You can say there's no such thing as Santa. As for me and Grandpa, we believe. Merry Christmas.
Absolutely.
And remember, if you hear sleigh bells, duck.
Yeah. Run for cover. Well, Patsy, it's been a pleasure again to have you on our Christmas show.
Y'all are wonderful. It's been great fun.
We have a blast. It's always very interesting, again, to have someone that is on our stage that has played, the biggest Christmas song of all time is amazing.
Thank you.
So thank you for putting up with us. I'll throw it out there for anyone else. Got any last-minute questions for Miss Trigg? Anything else you'd like to say?
Well, I just totally enjoyed it. Totally
Thank
enjoyed
you.
it. And you got to get a hold of them people up in Kittery, Maine.
Okay.
They now have 6 bakeries going up into Boston and everything.
And it's called Where Pigs Fly?
Where Pigs Fly.
Where? When pigs fly.
When pigs fly.
I'll definitely check that out.
You guys fit right in.
I'm going to tell them Larry sent us.
There you go.
There you go.
They say, who?
Yeah. That guy that wears the deer antlers all the time on his head. Well, again,
I just seen a video on Facebook, I guess it was 2 days ago, to that song somebody done in their house lights. And played that song.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was on Facebook.
Grandma or When Pigs Fly?
Grandma got run over by
How cool. That's great.
The whole thing was that song in the house.
Now that's pretty
where the
cool.
computers control the lights and stuff.
Was that the house that could be seen from space?
That would be awesome.
Yeah, no.
Well, that
there's
one house they do
Yeah.
the Michael Jackson's Thriller to it. Have you seen the videos of that?
No.
They've got the house lit up, and there's like pumpkin faces. It's like an old 2-story Cape Cod type house, but every bush, tree, window, door frame, everything is all hooked in lights, kind of like the Griswold's family Christmas off vacation, and it's all sequenced to a computer to Michael Jackson's Thriller, and
Wow.
And you got the voices and the mouths all working. It's incredible. So I'm wondering if that's the same place.
It was like that.
It was like that. So that's pretty cool.
Amazing.
If I forward you Patsy's Facebook, can you forward it to Patsy so she can see it?
Yeah.
If I can find it again now, I don't
Yeah, we'll try to find it.
Great.
Brian, you're shaking your mic. Oh, you're trying to
I
get.
don't hear nothing back here.
You don't hear nothing.
I just hear, I don't know, I'm lost.
He didn't even know we were doing a radio
Well,
show.
I hope we
Okay.
got the show on the radio tonight. So
Yeah, you got this all right, too, Guru.
Well, good.
Guru.
we'll try to forward that link on to Patsy so she can see herself. Do you get like reindeer stuff sent to you all the time? Little reindeer dolls and toys?
On occasion, yeah. I've since we've done the pig thing, we've gotten more pigs than I've gotten reindeer
Wow.
in a real short amount of time. It's crazy.
I always wondered that because like the one I can remember the story of is Jimmy Buffett. He sings the song Margaritaville.
Yeah.
And everywhere he goes, people buys him margaritas, and he hates margaritas.
I bet he does by now.
And he never did like margaritas.
It's the same way with Clint Eastwood when he did the movie Outlaw Josie Wells because he chewed tobacco in there.
Oh yeah.
And people started sending him tobacco, and he said, "I hated chewing tobacco. He said the only way I could do it was for certain scenes. There were certain kinds I hated worse than others, and when I had to be really mean, I'd choose one kind that I hated the most." And people kept sending him Red Man all the time.
Oh man. So
jeez.
I wondered if you got truckloads coming up to your yard during Christmas time, UPS and 4,500 boxes of reindeers coming out there.
Not yet.
Not yet. You big giant paintings,
Wouldn't turn them down, no.
that'd be cool. So
One weird head dressed up like one.
one, yeah, and that probably Jason Adams
Yeah, that's
on our
Jason.
front
He's trying to
lawn
get back
dressed
down
as a
here.
reindeer.
And Jason likes women that chew.
Yes, Jason does like women that chew.
He
So,
does.
That's kind of eerie.
Merry Christmas,
We're going to
Jason.
get off that real fast, but we're going to do our thing. Last year we had we didn't have a guitar for you to sign, so this year we're going to have you sign the last time we're going to have an artist sign a guitar for 2013, and we'll pose for our annual picture again. So if you hang around just for a second, we'll do our little housekeeping stuff. But again, we want to give a big round of applause for Miss Patsy Trigg. What a
Thank
great
you.
job! Fun as ever. And we want to thank all of our listeners that checked into WFMCJams.com. Don't forget, immediately after the show, Brian will upload the video to YouTube, so you can go on our YouTube channel and check this out. So it is under WFMC Jams. You can pull it up under that, as well as Midnight Madness Show or Patsy Trigg or all the above. But you'll find us. But give it about an hour after the show, and it'll be up and running. And then make sure you tune on your radio station to WFMCJams.com on the internet. We run 24/7. I think the only commercials we have is basically me saying a few things, James saying a thing or two, Cynthia says a thing or two, and then we have our station IDs from artists. Which, Brian, are we able to record stuff like if Patsy does a station ID? Are we able to get her tonight to say that?
Yeah.
Okay, then we're going to try to get Miss Patsy Trigg to do a station ID for us, so we have her voice on the air. But we will, have that running 24/7. We got some great music from great artists, singer songwriters. You'll hear Joey's band that you heard play here the last couple of weeks, but you'll hear great blues, great gospel, great rock and roll, great singer songwriters. We got rap. Well, no, we don't have rap, but we got reggae. We do have a rap. We have her rap song.
That's right. Grandma got run down by a reindeer.
Yes, the only rap song we have is by Miss Trigg. So we've got Johnny Counterfeits on there doing his imitation 12 Days of Christmas and White Christmas and Blue Christmas. But we got some of Johnny's regular stuff on there too. But we got a lot of great music on there. So check it out, listen to it. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised that you're not listening to the big names pushing down the same songs every hour. You hear the same 5 songs. So we've got a loud, wide range of music on there. And Brian does a great job pushing that out there for you every day, 24/7. Brian's going, yeah, I know. So with that, I'm going to sign off. I want to thank everyone for listening. Check us out live Sunday night at the Commodore Grill, and then in January on the 7th. With that, I am Mark, your DJ Jocker, wishing you all Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year's.
Merry Christmas.